wonderfuls. Welcome back to another episode of Helpers High by me, Tiffany. Episode 18, titled, What Are You Doing? What are you doing? And this is a question that I asked Tiffany the other day. So now I'm going to ask it directly to you. And I want you to come along on this journey with me because I had some soul searching recently that's leading me to believe that I've been somewhat off purpose at times. And I want to get better at that. So help me, help you, help me. I'm not really sure who needs to hear this one. It could just really be for me only. I don't know. We'll find out. So if it's not you, maybe send it to somebody who you think it's for. But write it out with me. I'm going to offer some solutions because I've been conscious enough to really think it through. So I have some answers, at least for myself, which usually works for others too. And then honestly, because it's one thing to notice it, it's another thing to actually do something about it. I think there's a lot of rules that we set for ourselves and a lot of demands that we have on ourselves, especially if some of you are like me. A little bit of a perfectionist, a little bit of a control. I'm not going to say freak because that's not what we are. But, you like things to go a certain way. We have to stay what I call now mentally flexible. What's the point? What are we doing? That's what I keep on asking myself. So now I'm asking you, what are you doing? So I don't know if this is really for you, or I don't know if this one is truly just for me to talk to myself out loud. But I do that all the time, so I can't possibly think that I need this forum just to talk to Tiffany. So let's talk this one through. Um, I've come to grips with three things that I'm truly understanding a lot better now. Three facts that are definitely consistent. Wait until you hear what these are. I'm going to call them out. I'm going to admit to them being impactful to me, of course. And then I'm going to offer some solutions because I've been playing this out now for quite some time in my life. But it's starting to all make sense now about the whys, what we're doing, how this is happening. So, what are you doing seems to be the best topic name for this episode. So, the first thing is life is crazy. The second is life is short. And then the third is an interesting spin on the second and the first because life feels super long when we make the wrong decisions. So let me break them all apart and really dive in. So the kicker is it's absolutely necessary for us to live in our purpose, but it does change our mindset on how we live in our purpose. We do things sometimes just unconsciously conscious. And I'll break that down, but here's some of the things that we have to get better at if we're going to really live in our purpose. We have to be okay in asking why we're even doing it. I think a lot of the things that we do is that we're either programmed to do it or programmed that when we're asked from someone else, we just do it. We have to start undoing some of our doing. We have to acknowledge what we already do well. There's a few of us that are steadfast in our ways. I know, shocker, right? We do things a certain way, we like a little bit of control, and that makes it harder when change happens that we didn't expect. Again, for me, I kind of thrive on change, so it's not a big deal, but it does take me a minute to process that we're changing, and then I can move forward. So I have to actually say to myself, oh, we're about to change something. And then I kind of just dive into that. Other people, not so easy to change. And that's why I said you have to work now on your mental flexibility, the ability to adapt and change in the moment because life is doing it to us anyway. We can wake up with the best day planned. We got the best outfit, we got the best attitude, and sometimes right around lunchtime, it feels that we're in a reality show that we did not sign up to be a part of. How does that even happen? You had great plans. Look at you. You're together. You're here. You showed up. How could everything go so wrong so quick? So, when I say life is crazy, it's not only about the chaos in life, it's also about it being unpredictable and how fast things move, right? So, one moment we're coasting, the next minute we're spinning. That's what it feels like sometimes. And listen, HH fam, we're not victims. We're not. So, let's be real. Sometimes the crazy is actually caused by us. I know. I know. Why do we do this to ourselves? We know better. Or not. We pile on too much on our plates and we say yes when we should have said no. And we try to be superheroes with no capes. And most importantly, and this is where we have to do better, we have to stop taking things so personal. I know. You know, and if you're following along in all of the episodes, you know that I said multiple times now that comedy has been a huge part of my life, and I can't imagine comedians these days what they have to think through to go through because we are taking things so personal. It doesn't have anything to do with anything that's happening in the moment. And we're like, oh, but if that happened, and what about if she was here, then that would have been different. But she's not here and it's not different. Just think about the now for a little bit. Stop thinking all the next steps through on what coulda, shoulda, woulda happened. Live in the moment. Crazy isn't the enemy, but it is a reminder that controls an illusion, to be honest. That's what it is. It's life is unpredictable, and we know that, right? So no matter how much we plan, no matter how much we organize, no matter how much we try to control our day, the people around us, the circumstances, or the time we have no control over, guys. That is not something that we can ever control. There will always be curveballs thrown our way, and we have to be willing to adapt to them. Like move and shift with the curves. Thinking we can control everything sets us up for what is frustration at best, and worse, stress. I don't want to get off topic, but I do want to mention again, because I know I have already, stress is a silent killer. It's a silent killer, guys. You have to be super careful about allowing stress into your life. Yeah, I know. It's like when you think of termites in your roof. They're there at first, not much is happening, but they're slowly eating away. And before you know it, your roof is in your living room. That's how termites work. That's how stress works in your body. In order to be stress free, you have to live in your purpose. You have to bring joy into your life, right? You have to have good thoughts. Yoga, meditation, those things help too. So it's only a matter of time, if you're not living in your purpose, for stress to kick in and really just disrupt and corrupt. So we know that we cannot control change, right? Because change is not happening to us, it's usually happening for us. In the moment, it may not feel like that, but we have to be honest about hindsight. Things that you thought you would have never gotten through, somehow you're here listening to this episode, so you did get through. I like to remind people that we survived 100% of our worst days. So it's not that you can't get through it. You figure out the plan and you move through it. What we can control, though, right, is our response. We can control our attitude. We can continue to set boundaries. We can control our choices. And we can control our energy, how we show up through it all. We control that. And that's where purpose starts sneaking back in. And second, because that was just the first one. Second is that life is short. And we know that. We hear that all the time. Life is short. Life is short. Such a cliche, but it's absolutely true. None of us are here forever. I know. We don't like to talk about it. We don't like to action it out. We don't like to plan for it. But guess what? That's the truth, guys. But at times we treat life that time is to infinity. And we got to be careful in doing that because time is not guaranteed. Sometimes we find ourselves putting our own joy on the back burner. Yep. Our health on the back burner. hmm Like layaway, like some type of layaway plan. Put a little bit now, put a little bit later. I'll come back and give it some more thought soon. You can't do that. You can't do that. Bring your joy forward, bring your health forward. There's some things that have to be forward, but the biggest one that you have to put forward is your dreams. And we know there's people in our circle sometimes that are dream killers, but we can't allow them to do that because we don't have promised time. So if it's our dream, then we have to treat it with the most forward, thoughtful, process thinking that we possibly can. So we have to stop saying things like, hold tight, I'll be right back. I'll get to you when I get to you. After I lose 10 pounds, after I make more money, after the kids graduate. Oh, that's a big one. When I retire, after Mercury stops retrograding. Life is short, and the expiration date is not printed on our foreheads. So we don't know when that's going to be. So that means every day, consciously, you should be living in your purpose, right? I know, we know this. Why do we keep on having to remind ourselves as adults? I don't know, but we do. Okay, I'm back. That's why every time we whisper to ourselves, someday, it's dangerous. It's dangerous because we're saying any day except today. That's what someday means. Sunday isn't a day of the week. It's not. It's not even something that has a timeline. It's someday over the rainbow. No, that's not the song at all. Okay. What are you really waiting for? What are you really waiting for? That's the best question that you can ask yourself. If it matters so much to you, you have to be willing to get in there, to do it. Do it messy. Do it now. Yeah, now. You want to go to Italy? Okay. But you don't have money. I heard you. Okay. Oh, no passport. Oh, you don't want to go alone. I know all of the things that we come up with. So, what you do once a month, you go to an awesome, delicious Italian restaurant. Treat yourself. Get a bottle of wine, sit down, enjoy, look at the beautiful images on the walls. Start telling yourself that it's possible to do the things that you want to do, even if you have to do them differently than you wanted to do them. No excuses to start. It doesn't have to be perfection yet. I understand that Italy, the country, is in your future. For now, try Italy, the country in Epcot. It is less costly than flying to Italy, the country. And it's beautiful. And they have awesome shops. And you can also buy a great bottle of wine there. And you can look at beautiful hand blown glass. And you're in Disney. Okay, so what I'm saying is, oh, and don't forget to take photos. Photos are important because photos is what makes the memories. Remember this one? Photos makes the memories last forever. It will outlive you, but it will stay to tell a story. Don't forget the photos, guys. Muy importante. Okay. If none of those things that I just said is a good suggestion for your trip to Italy, throw a DiGiorno's pizza in the oven. Mhm. Get a glass of grape juice. Mhm. Put it in a fancy glass. Mhm. Sit down and put on Cars 2 that takes place in Italy. Okay, I think you get the point. Stop the daggone excuses to live your dreams. Nothing is holding you back but yourself. Okay, I said it. Every minute that we waste is a minute that we can't get back. And I don't want to say it again, but I'll remind you. Someone woke up dead this morning. Yeah, you heard me. Let's move on to number 3 because it's a spinoff to Life is Short. Life is short. I don't want either of us to doubt that because that's the truth. But when we make the wrong decisions, life can feel ridiculously long. Yeah, you're in that dead end job, you're in that dead end relationship, you're in the dead end wrong social circle, wrong people, you know what I mean, and wrong mindset. And that's probably the worst one because if it's you against you, ooh, that battle is worse than Captain America fights Iron Man. Have you ever looked at the clock at work and swore it had to be broken? Yes. That's when we're living out of our purpose. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. You're doing things because you have to, not because you want to. You're removing your joy because at this point, not only are you not doing things that make you happy today, you're not doing them at all. The weekend comes where you have time to add your joy back in. And you know what you do? You sleep through it. Or you do what someone else that's outside of work wants you to do. And the truth is, the wrong decisions don't have to define us, but they will drain us if we don't course correct them. So that's why purpose matters. Purpose makes life feel like a gift and not a life sentence. I said that. You know who I thought of just now? P. Diddy. When he was out, every day probably moved really fast, right? Doing things, spending money, people around you, surrounded, all of the things, love, joy, money, the things that we think make us happy. And today, he probably had what seemed to be a very long day. And there's still only 24 hours in that same day. But when you are not doing the things that bring you joy, you are not doing the things that you want to do, 24 hours sometimes feels like weeks. Anywho, back to what are we doing? On purpose behaviors, even the craziest days, have meaning. So let me give you a story that drives this home for me. So 3 security guards, right? Working for the same company, same job. There's 3 different points at the job where folks come in and enter the building. And a guy goes up to the first security guard and says, "What are you doing?" It's almost like he knew the name of this episode. No. He said, "What are you doing?" And the security guard shrugged, gave him a little side eye, and then he said out loud, "Just waiting to check IDs before everybody goes in." And the guy said, "Oh, okay. Do you enjoy it?" And he said, "Enjoy what? I just check IDs." He walks over to the second one and he says, "What are you doing?" Without looking up, he said, "Doing what I was asked to do, checking IDs before the workers enter." And he said, okay, do you enjoy it? I do whatever they tell me to do, and I get my check every week. Finally, he walked to the third door and he says to the guy, what are you doing? And the man's face lit up. I'm here to welcome people in for their return back to work each day. I do it with warmth, and I want to make sure that I start their day with something to look forward to. And he said, oh, that's different, right? He goes, so that means you love it. Do you love it? And he goes, I'm not sure that I love it, but I love the people. I enjoy their interactions, and I understand why I'm here. I make sure that the people that work in this building behind me are safe. It's my privilege to be able to do that for others. And I've always been told that anytime I'm doing something, do it with everything that I have. Here's the wow part. The first two had limited to no lines, one or two people walking in the building. But that third door, there was a line stretching down the sidewalk. Most workers wanted to walk through his door. Same building, same hours, same job description. 3 completely different lives is what they were living. So your task doesn't define your joy. Your why does. Why you choose to show up, what it is that you think you're a part of, and what you are doing. Let's do a quick pulse check. Let's pause for a moment. Okay, and let's ask some questions. First, do you remember a day when you were busy all day, but by bedtime, you couldn't point to one thing that you actually accomplished? Have you ever put something that you really wanted on hold for that dangerous little word, someday, one day? Can you admit, at least today, that the biggest obstacle in your life at times might actually be you? Ooh. And what's one thing that you did this week to bring yourself joy? Not for the kids, not for the job, not for anybody else, but for you. Okay. And then last, and this is a question slash thought. Who brought you joy this week? Did you stop long enough to even give them a real thank you? Or did you just give them the standard thank you, maybe a thumbs up emoji, a high five? So take a moment to really think about these. Pause, reflect, and journal it if you want to, but these are true questions that are going to help us determine what we're doing in life. Living on purpose equals being intentional. When we talk about living in purpose, it's not just about chasing something big, something shiny, a dream. It's about being intentional with our time, our choices, our energy, our words, our interactions, our relationships, who we actually are. Purpose shows up in the little things. So, what we say yes to, when we finally say no to something, who we are in our space, and how we spend each and every minute of the day. And yes, I said minute, because our lives are built in minutes, not in big milestones. It's being intentional with the minutes, every single one of them. And the milestones then take care of themselves. Here's the thing. I want you to really sit with this. The biggest risk that we can actually take is not taking any risk at all. When we find our passion, when we step into our purpose, everyone benefits. The joy around us, it's contagious. Our energy shifts the rooms. Our life stops being a job and starts being a calling. And speaking of calling, if you don't stop walking back and forth over there, you have me doing googly eyes to my people over here. Greg is not in his normal position, guys. He's over here pacing back and forth. He acts like it's, what time is it, babe? This is right? Okay. It's midnight, guys. This is why. He's like, it's bedtime. Okay. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't hide behind someday or a camera that's in the room. Take the risk. Show up. Live on purpose. In the end, we will only regret the chances that we didn't take, the relationships we were afraid to have, and the decisions that we waited too long to make. Don't waste a single moment. Live intentionally, live passionately, and live on purpose. Together, we make magic.